Suspect Ryan Kohberger is behind bars after investigators linked his DNA at the crime scene to the DNA taken from the trash at his parents' home. To help explain how this all works, I want to bring in genetic genealogist Cece Moore. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, so many questions here, Cece. So, investigators claim that DNA analysis linked to the Idaho murder suspect Ryan Kohberger started with a sample of DNA from his trash belonging to the Kohberger's father. How exactly does this work?
I'm not convinced that it started with that. I still think it's very possible that investigative genetic genealogy was used to point them in his direction, or after they received the tip about the car, it may have helped them to vet that tip and to determine that he actually was, his family tree was consistent with the DNA sample from the knife sheath. They don't have to include everything in the affidavit, and genetic genealogy should not be used for the basis of an arrest. So in my opinion, it would be proper that they left that out. So I think it's very likely there's a lot more to this story yet to come out, but either way, it ended up with them following him to his parents' home and doing what we call a trash pull. This has happened in lots of my cases as well. They have to collect that surreptitious DNA and compare that to their crime scene DNA before they can arrest anyone. In this case, there were multiple people in the home. They wouldn't have known exactly whose DNA it was until they were testing it. And they found that male DNA that ended up being the father of the person who left the DNA behind on the knife sheath. And so that is a standard paternity test. That's the type of test that's been accepted in courtrooms for decades to establish paternity. So that is very, very high confidence.
Well, we saw investigators remove what looks to be bed frames and actually the mattress of the bed, and it appeared to have bloodstains on it. Can you kind of point out what exactly investigators are looking for?
This was such an incredibly horrible crime scene, and we're learning more and more all the time, that I think it's very likely there's additional DNA from Bryan at that scene. They have told us about the DNA on the sheath of the knife. Now, that was probably touch DNA. Could have been blood, but most likely touch DNA. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he left additional DNA behind. We know from the witness statement that at least his eyebrows were showing, and it sounds like his hair wasn't even covered. So he may have left hair behind as well, which also contains DNA. And advancements in technology have meant we can get quite a lot of information from even a rootless hair now. So I think both they and the defense are scouring that crime scene to see what else is there. I'm a little confused about why those mattresses are being moved right now and who exactly is doing that and the method that they're doing that. But I think there's been a lot of work on that crime scene already, gathering any possible physical evidence to, in the prosecution's case, try to support their case, and in the defense's case, to try to find somebody else's DNA that they can try to pin this crime on.
So many questions. So they're at the crime scene. Well, if you could kind of explain actually how DNA really works, finding that at the crime scene. Is it spit? Is it, we know it's semen, we know it's, which wasn't left at the crime scene. We know it can be fingerprints, footprints, but what else can it be?
Everywhere we go, we leave our DNA behind. And because technology has advanced to be so sensitive now, we are able to detect that DNA. Even if someone doesn't leave behind the optimal DNA sample, which would be blood, semen, or even saliva. They can leave their skin cells, they can leave their hair, they can leave a hair from their leg even. All of these things contain the blueprint that makes us unique. And that means that each of us has unique DNA unless we have an identical twin, and therefore we can be identified by that. Now, if someone is in the law enforcement database because they've committed another violent crime and been caught, then that's pretty easy. They just do a one-to-one comparison with 20 genetic markers. They create that profile in the crime lab. If they don't get that match, they can send that DNA out to an advanced lab to create a much more in-depth profile.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.